Welcome to another episode of The Mouse and Men, where we explore the grown-up side of Disney. Find us on social media at The Mouse and Men on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Go to themouseandmen.com to find our top 10 things for grown-ups to do at Walt Disney World. And find us on YouTube, where you can see videos of all these podcasts, where we broadcast the podcast. I'm Bradley. I'm here with my co-host, Chris. Chris, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm excited about talking about some mini golf today. It's been a while since we actually participated in the activity that we're doing today, but over the last, I guess, maybe almost 3 months, we've been talking about our trip that we took to Orlando in August of 2019. And we thought that, we're going to launch this podcast right as COVID was hitting. We pushed pause on that a little bit, but we all need some time to get away. And some of the best times that we can get away when we're at Disney is doing some of the things that aren't necessarily in the parks, like Disney Springs, what we're going to talk about today, mini golf, and go on hikes, runs all over the place. So there's so much to do at Disney that don't involve going into a park. And mini golf was one of the most fun experiences I've had doing something outside of the park at Disney.
I agree. I'd never done, I don't think, any of these mini golf courses. We did one. We'll get to that in just a second. But what a great just change of pace for kind of the rush and crowds in the parks. Whereas we went to play mini golf, and there was nobody there. So let's dive into this week's episode of The Mouse and Men. Mini golf, there's three options. Let's first give you that. There's Winter Summerland, and then there are two options at Fantasia Gardens and Fairways. Both Winter Summerland and Fantasia Gardens are more of your traditional mini golf with the windmills and things, but they've got characters there as well. Fantasia Gardens having characters from Fantasia, the animated movie. Then Fantasia Fairways looks like a traditional golf course with water hazards and sand traps in quotes. But a picture of Fantasia Fairways behind me in my Zoom background.
Yeah, I can remember when we first went there, I kind of expected to just have the typical mini golf / putt-putt experience, to where it's kind of cute and kitschy, and especially being down at Disney, it's going to be Disney-esque. And like you're saying, Winter Summerland and Fantasia Gardens does kind of have that more putt-putt kind of feel that maybe you had in your local town growing up, or you can go to now. But when we heard about the fairways, this is not your typical mini golf that you're just going to go and kind of leisurely walk through. It is a lot of fun. You can do it in a leisure way, which we did, but this is a real deal. Like, this is a difficult course to play, and very hard to master.
Oh yeah. So we walked up, not realizing there was a difference between gardens and fairways. Yeah. And the guy said, "Which one do you want to play?" It's like, "Well, I don't know. Tell us about it." He said, "Well, fairways is the second most difficult mini golf course in the world." Like, okay. And we said, "Well, where's the most difficult one?" And I want to say he said India or something like that.
Yeah, something like that, or Dubai or something. Yeah.
Dubai, that was it. It was Dubai. And we said, "Well, we're not going to be able to make it there anytime soon. So sign us up for the fairways." And this is a par 72 18-hole mini golf course, which I did a little research. Let me read you this from Wikipedia. It says Golf Digest named it the most challenging mini golf course in the world. So I guess it's up for debate. And then Bubba Watson, as confirmed by Disney, holds the record for the fairways course at 50, which is 22 under par. So I mean, Bubba Watson shooting 22 under on this. It's appropriate with the Masters having just wrapped this last weekend, the November edition of the
Right.
Masters, but really challenging. I mean, the sand traps and water hazards are really just bowls in the ground that you then have to putt out of.
Right.
Not easy. That's where I spent most of my day.
Yeah, I can definitely say that neither of us got close to Bubba Watson's record or even hitting par on that, because it is a very challenging course. But the challenge is kind of the fun, because when we first started playing, I thought, okay, like I'm gonna nail this, get close to par on every hole. And it's not that we did bad, but that is a challenging course. And so much fun that now I can say that I have played either the most challenging or the second most challenging mini golf course in the world. And it lives up to its name because it was a challenge.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't realize that was even there. I mean, I knew that there were mini golf options, but it's so far back in my mind that I've never thought about this on any of the trips that I've planned.
Sure.
But
I'll echo what you said. Yeah, it really was a great outing, and something that is amazing to do if you have a day off from going to the parks, because like you said a few minutes ago, we went in August, the heat of the summer, in the heat of vacation travel, like in that rush. And so people were everywhere. It was packed in all of Disney, but it was so much more laid back and leisurely at putt-putt or mini golf because there weren't that many people there. So we could take our time, we could enjoy, we could do a do-over if we needed to, because it just wasn't packed like a lot of the other places are in Disney. So a great place within Disney to kind of get away from a lot of the crowds.
Yeah, I want to say there were 3 or 4 families at Fantasia Gardens, which kind of runs parallel to Fantasia Fairways. And I want to say there were 2 other groups, one way ahead of us and one kind of getting started as we finished up on the Fantasia Fairways. But like you said, when we were in the parks just a day or 2 earlier, it was packed. I mean, there were people everywhere. But then we go to Fantasia Fairways and there's nobody there. So it's nice. It is in the sun. So take a golf umbrella and some water.
Exactly.
To stay cool. We did not do that, and we were wishing we had. But
yeah, I can remember because we were doing mini golf, I wanted to wear something and taking pictures and stuff like that would be appropriate to wear on a golf course. And so luckily, because they don't require you to wear a button-up shirt or khakis or something like that, like you would on a normal golf course, I wore shorts and a button-up, or like a kind of a polo knit type shirt, and I soaked through everything I was wearing that day because it was hot, it was steamy, it was August. So I agree with you. Bring some water if you have the ability. If you're traveling down there by car, take an umbrella, because there are certain places that are really great to have like nice little shade, get a little breeze. But there were other places on there that, because you may be waiting, if it's a little more crowded when you get there, maybe waiting on the party in front of you to finish up their hole before you can move. Sometimes you kind of get stuck on the hole that you're at. And if there's no tree cover, you're just feeling that central Florida heat just bearing down on you. So if you can bring an umbrella, that's a smart move.
Yeah. I'm glad we did this, because I'm definitely going to try this next time we go down. And if there are people who want to have a little bit different experience, we can go over to Winter Summerland or Fantasia Gardens, the more fanciful, traditional mini golf type courses. Maybe those are considered putt-putt. I think it's kind of like ping pong and table tennis. There is a difference, but I'm not really sure what it is. So check those out. And I was going to say something else and it just escaped me, but It's definitely a must do for me. Maybe not every trip, but on those days that you don't go to the parks. Chris, you and I were talking before we even started recording that we both take days. If we're down there for 5 days, we'll only go to the parks 3, maybe 4 days. And there's a pool day in there somewhere, just a day to kind of relax, because the parks can be exhausting. You're in the sun, you're standing in line, you're running around trying to get from ride to ride. You need a day that changes it up, and mini golf is one of those things that could be a great change of pace.
Yeah, and I guess this ties into our plussing this week. Instead of having something that's necessarily separated to talk about another idea in addition to whatever topic we're talking about, this week's plussing kind of incorporates this, which is plus. Go down if you're going to Disney World specifically. Oftentimes, what you and I do is that we'll take our families down and go for multiple days. It becomes cost prohibitive to many families to go down and spend every day in the park and every day eating on the dining plan and every day being in the hotel, that kind of thing. And so if you can space it out, and maybe like I know that for me and taking my family of 4 down there, sometimes we'll go down for an entire week and we'll get a hotel for that whole time, but we'll only go to the parks for 3 days. And so we'll kind of choose what 3 parks we want to go to. Every other day is just like, let's have an adventure. Let's or let's not have an adventure and just relax around the pool, have some drinks, enjoy watching the kids frolic around in the pool, that type of thing. But this is one of those good adventure days that Disney does so well because, again, you're getting that Disney hospitality, you're getting the upkeep and the friendliness and the cleanliness of a Disney experience, but you're not paying to go to a park at all of those exorbitant costs that you have of doing that. And so this is allowing you to go and have an adventure without as many crowds, but still experience another Disney thing without the exorbitant rates of going into the park every day.
Yeah. And right now, during the current state of Walt Disney World, not all the mini golf courses are open. Right now, Winter Summerland is open through the end of January 2021, and Fantasia Gardens and Fairways is closed. And then at the end of January, that's gonna switch. I think it's just something where with fewer people in the parks, they're only having one mini golf location open at a time. I don't think that I don't think that Winter Summerland is going away forever. I think it's just a temporary closure. They may be doing some refurbishment. They may be just not having enough of a crowd, enough demand for both locations to be open. So if you're heading down there, do check to see which mini golf courses are open, but definitely check it out because it's a great thing to take your kids, or if you just need some time away from the kids, make it a little date afternoon and go play some mini golf. Great change of pace for the hustle and bustle of Walt Disney World.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. I remember now when we were there last August that if I can recall, the way that we drove up into the parking lot for Fantasia Gardens or Fairway and Gardens, that there was some construction area going on around. And I'm wondering if they're building a new hotel nearby or something like that. So maybe this has to do with those refurbishments that they're doing, or they're building a hotel and maybe refurbishing. And so, do double check and make sure. But this is one of those ideas that every other time that I'd ever gone to Disney, except until you and I went last August, it was, let's see how much we can pack in. Let's see how, if we're going to do a day not in the park, it's usually around the pool or just hanging out at the hotel room, something like that. But this really got my mind thinking of all the things that you can do that are outside of those normal things that are an adventure. And again, us talking about the grown-up side of Disney, maybe not everything that you want to do involves the kids or involves even going down there with kids in general. Like you and I went down, you were about to be a father. I have 2 children, but we just took a dude trip and
Yeah.
had some fun doing things that we would have never had done with the kids there. So if you're with the kids, this is a great environment to take them to just putt, enjoy spending time with each other, but not necessarily going as fast as you can go to each ride to try to get as much in throughout the day. But if you're also just going down with some friends, this is also a great thing to just break up all of the different things that can take up your trip planning. So yeah, check on those things, but also, again, just kind of reiterating and tying in the plussing part of it, look and find adventurous things that you can do that don't necessarily mean going to the parks. The parks are one of my favorite things to do in the world, but there's so much more that Disney has to offer that could be free or much less expensive that are just off to the parks, like the putt-putt or the mini golf.
Well, and I'm going to get off on a tangent here. This deserves its own episode or 2 or 3. Obviously, they're not open right now because it's winter. It's even though it's Florida, it's just a little bit cooler. But the water parks are a blast. And I wasn't a big water park guy. My wife loves them, and so we decided to go on a trip and go to both water parks. And then she said, well, we can't come down here and not go to the Magic Kingdom. So we were down there 3 days, a water park, a different water park each day for the first couple of days, and then Magic Kingdom before we headed home. And what's great is if you buy a 2-day water park pass, it's an automatic upgrade to an annual pass. And so I had 12 months of water park access. So I made the most of it. Had to go down to Orlando for work, and they said, hey, when do you want to fly down? I said, put me on the earliest flight. It's like, yeah, but it boards like 5:30 in the morning. I said, I don't care. I'd rather get down there early, and than not get down there at all. So they said, okay, whatever. Went down there, took my laptop. As soon as I touched down in Orlando, I went straight to one of the water parks, and there was a little place in the back. And what's great about Disney, there's Wi-Fi everywhere. So went to my little spot in the back, pulled up my laptop, answered some emails, went down a water slide, come back, answer some more emails, go down a water slide. But I'd never known it if I hadn't gone on this little discovery tangent with my wife saying, hey, let's try the water parks. So the same could be true for mini golf. You may try it and say, you know what, this is a blast. And next time you're down in the Orlando area, you carve out a couple hours to go play some mini golf over at Fantasia Fairways or Winter Summerland, whatever suits your fancy. But yeah, do encourage you to go check it out, because you'll never know what you'll discover.
I remember the day that you did that. I believe that we either were texting or you sent me an email, and I was so jealous of just picturing you kind of like camped out in a water park, getting work done, but also being able to enjoy and appreciate that just on a solo adventure like you did. Very good thinking on your part. And I was very jealous that day. So well done for you for finding out some of that fun stuff to do on the side.
Well, the best part may have been the mini donuts. Oh, so good. Mini donuts with, was it like a little raspberry sauce that I could dip them in? But yeah, because they were the more cakey donuts. You dip them in this sauce. Great. Now, I will say that as soon as I got the mini donuts, the sky started getting dark, and I ran to my car, and just got drenched. I mean, I was soaking wet, but I had a good half the day, so
yeah,
can't complain there. But but yeah, to keep from dragging this out too much longer, just keep your eyes open for something other than the four main parks.
Right. Yeah.
You're going to find something that you really like and really grab onto, and that may be mini golf for you. So, I don't know, Chris, any other final thoughts on the mini golf courses down at Disney?
Yeah. Just kind of in summation, when you get down there, let the people who work there tell you about them, because they were so informative for us. I mean, we had done research going down there, and then there was things that they filled us in on that we were not privy to until we were actually talking to a cast member there at the Fairway and Gardens. And so I felt like that we were really taken care of. So, use them for the information and the knowledge base that they have working down there all the time. Do that. Make sure you bring some hydrating fluids, whether it be water or whatever you need, Gatorade or something, because it is hot out there and you're walking around all day. And they do have snacks and things like that on the premises too. So if you forget them, you can still get them there. And then if you're driving down or do have access to an umbrella, just good to use that to kind of keep the shade, even when you're in those areas that the trees aren't around. But I would highly recommend it. For one, it's something different to do in Disney. It breaks up the park experiences, and you can say that you were either on the first or the second most difficult mini golf course in the world. So it's a little tick mark beside. I'm cooler now because I played the hardest mini golf in the world.
Right. I played it and I survived. Well, talk to those cast members, stay curious, with a childlike curiosity, you're going to learn a lot. So find us on social media at the Mouse and Men, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Go to our website, themouseandmen.com. Also find us on YouTube. And with that childlike curiosity, don't grow up too fast.
And keep exploring.